Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. I know, I'm sorry, it's me again. You're gonna have to suffer through with Record-ology. The missus did a fantastic job though. So thankful for her. And if you want to see more, just keep bombarding us with comments because it's what's going to get her to do it. Absolutely. Speaking of which, if you want to see more content from Rain, aka Mrs. Record-ology, stay tuned. There may be more stuff coming your way. Also, wanted to remind you that our new Sky Blue 45 adapter is available. And we're getting some really cool color variations coming out of it. The filament is sort of a transitional kind of whitish, bluish color, and because of that, everyone comes out a little bit differently. But that is neither here nor there, because today we are reviewing a product. Yes, today is the Aiyima T3 Pro Phono Preamp. We're going to take a look and a listen at this, unbox it, test it out, all that good stuff. These guys, we reviewed a little pocket amplifier of theirs a couple of weeks ago, and it was pretty interesting. So they've got a lot of little things, preamps and whatnot, and I thought this would be fun. And also, a preamp show is always good and useful because we all need a preamp in our lives. Anyway, my friends, you're not going to want to miss this. Okay, so here it is. This is the Aiyima T3 Pro. Moving magnet and moving coil. That's cool. Phono preamp. Usually these do kind of one or the other. So having one that does both moving magnet and moving coil is a good thing. If you're not aware, a moving coil cartridge is even higher quality sound than a moving magnet, which are both leaps and bounds above ceramics. The thing about it is a moving coil cartridge requires more of a pre-amplification stage, a higher voltage of amplification. So this has the ability to do both, which is really cool. I have not even ever had a moving coil cartridge, but I would like to someday. It's rare that a built-in preamp would support it. The only one I can think of off the top of my head is the Audio-Technica LP3 actually had a moving coil switch on the back, which was surprising. Anyway, so here it is. From a specifications standpoint, I will put a link where you can look at the detailed specs. In the past, I've tried to do comparisons of those specs and whatnot, but it just doesn't make for good YouTube content. So I'd rather focus on the product itself, reviewing it, and then listening to it, because that's the most important thing, right? What does it sound like? Ultimately, the specs or whatever, but if it doesn't sound good, then it doesn't matter. I will definitely hit on some, there's a QC pass card. I will definitely hit on some of the more important stats as we go along, the pertinent things. Here's the manual. So let's take a gander. Ooh, full color. Gotta love that. And this is a pretty capable looking device from what I can tell. It's not, over the top. There's nothing goofy, like there's no like weird 3D filters and effects and things like that. It's just, a pure, simple preamp. But for $100, which is what this is going for right now, about $99 on Amazon. It's only been on the Amazon store, by the way, for a month, so this is pretty new. There aren't any reviews up there for me even to look at, so it'll be interesting. We're kind of doing the first review, as it were. So I have nothing to go on. I don't know if people like this or they don't. I can tell you that these guys make a lot of products, and a lot of them have great reviews. So I have no reason to think anything else, but this is just new, and I think that's why there's not a lot out there on it so far. So here is the device. It is wrapped in plastic. This does not have, this is all solid state, so there's no protruding valves on top. It's just a solid encased metal enclosure. So there's sort of a cursory look around. So we've got the metal case. I like the sort of rack ear looking sides. Kind of harkens back to my many sleepless nights spent in data centers. And it looks like this could go like in a miniature rack, which is kind of interesting. It's more, this is all design element stuff, some ventilation holes. But yeah, so looking on the back here, we've got the 12-volt power supply, RCA outputs, RCA inputs, and a grounding post. Again, if you are using a turntable with an external preamp, oftentimes you need to have that grounding post. There again is the holographic quality control pass right there. And another thing the metal casing obviously provides is shielding. So you don't run across too many preamps, although I have seen them that actually have a plastic housing. But this metal housing will definitely provide good shielding for it. Looking at the front panel, we've got, obviously it says T3 Pro. This is a variable gain. I think it's 0 to 39 decibel range here, and it's stepped. So as I rotate this, it's sort of clicking through different notches in there as well. Once we plug it in, we'll be curious to see if that lights up or not. I kind of think not. I think that's just white dots on there. I don't think those are lights. And then the volume is also stepped. These have excellent drag. They feel nice and high quality. That is a metal knob as well. And then a simple dip switch, or a simple switch right there just for the power. Like it. Basic. Feels good. Looking on the bottom, we've got silicone feet. So this is that super grippy silicone that, you know, it's not going to slide around. This is not like a foam pad or even just regular rubber. If you've ever had a product with these silicone, it's almost sticky, but it's not. It's not actually sticky, but it's so grippy that you would swear that it is almost sticky. On the bottom here, we have the ability to configure it for moving coil cartridge use via these dip switches, and it shows you the values that you would need to, because the resistance does change in that case. So we are going to configure it in our case for a moving magnet cartridge, because that's what we will be using. And that's about all there is to say about it. It looks like the terminals here are gold plated, which is good. It feels proper. I mean, it feels like a rugged piece of serious audio equipment, professional. I mean, I like it. The question is, what's inside and how is it going to sound? It does use 4 op amps to deliver the sound, and it's an interesting design. It's a little bit different in terms of the internal construct than I have seen before. But like I keep saying, it all depends on what it sounds like. So we need to really give it a listen. First, though, let's plug it in and see if anything lights up on it. Okay, I killed the lights in here just so we can see any potential anything. All right. So yeah, we've got a little LED there, and these are just white indicators. There's no actual illumination. That would be cool. I mean, that would have been cool. But again, it's not necessary. I understand it's not necessary. And you flip it off. And yeah. One thing I'll be curious about, it kind of drives me nuts here. Let me turn the lights on again. Is I don't like it when a preamp takes time to actually kick on. I understand tubes take a while to come up to temperature and to work. But a solid state preamp, I think you should flip it on. It should instantly work. That's not always the case, and that can be a little annoying sometimes. I've got some, I think it's the IFI preamps. They take a good 5 to 10 seconds to actually boot up, as it were. So, interesting. Okay, we need to hook it up and give it a listen in a real-world scenario. So I'm going to grab a turntable we haven't seen in a while, something interesting. I told you it was going to be one we haven't seen in a while. This is the Lucinia. This was a really good turntable. Not that I wasn't expecting it to be, but it turned out to be just fantastic. It is heavy, too. It is heavy. I think this has an iron platter. And when you pick this thing up, it's just really hefty. It's got a beautiful acrylic platter here, which anything piano finishy, sort of shiny, is always a dust magnet. Anyway, so this will definitely work for us. Let's go ahead and spin it around. We'll show you how it's going to get connected. So let's start by plugging in the turntable. It's probably a good idea. You're going to need a audio cable that has the grounding post. So what we're going to do is plug it in like that. And then I am going to attach the grounding wire to the grounding post. Post is on the record player. The wire is on the cable. Just to make sure that that's clear. All right, and now we connect this cable to the other end of the preamp. Something else that's very important is make sure you flip this to phono. So this has a built-in preamp. We're going to bypass the built-in preamp and use the external preamp. So make sure we're in phono level. And one thing that would be fun to do, I think, would be to compare the built-in preamp on this, which is fine. But let's see how the external one compares. So not only will we do a direct feed sound of the external preamp, but we'll do it back and forth, kind of an A-B comparison with the built-in one on this Lucinia. Okay, and as you can see, I've got it connected. The grounding post is connected to the grounding wire. The input, the RCA input, is connected. Now, if you are just connecting to powered speakers, you would just connect the output straight to those powered speakers, or if you're using a receiver, you could connect to the receiver, etc., etc. Because we're doing a direct feed sound test, I'm going to be using a cable to connect this to my recorder. Okay, and here is what we're dealing with, folks. We've got the Lucinia turntable, the record. I just went with this. We use this a lot, I know, but it sounds good, and it's a really good way to test the sound quality. I really am working hard to get some more audio on the channel, but people like this record. Hopefully you're not getting too sick of it. And then we've got the preamp, and then my audio recorder. You may be saying, wait a minute, don't you have to use a headphone amplifier to quiet the audio? Well, in this case I don't, because it's got a volume control. So it can pad the audio down, because I have this problem where this doesn't have a real line input. It has got a mic input level, so I have to adjust it accordingly. Hey, look, it's got a timeout on the play. So even though it was, I had hit the start button there, start switch, it went for about 2 minutes and auto stopped. That's kind of cool. Didn't know it had that feature. Also, really quickly, I wanted to point out the settings that I'm using. So I've got the gain set to 0 and the volume set to about 60%. And then and that's to get the level that I wanted on the recorder. So those settings will perhaps need to be adjusted. The only thing that really surprised me is I did not need any gain. I thought that would be like maybe 20% for a moving magnet and 60% for moving coil, but I didn't need anything with this cartridge. And the cartridge is a 3600L dual moving magnet from Audio-Technica. All right, my friends, and that is going to do it. I thought it sounded great, and it looks cool. It's built really well. If you want to snag one, I'll put a link in the description below. And yeah, it's 2 thumbs up for me. I thought it was very cool. And a preamp is always a welcome addition to any setup. So if you want to take your setup to the next level, say you've been using a built-in preamp and you just want to kind of add a new one, this would be a good way to do it. And $100 is not bad. That is a good sort of benchmark price point for a good, decent preamp. Also, don't forget our merchandise. I'll put a little video in the video here so you can see some of the cool stuff we have in addition to the 45 adapters. And a reminder, the merchandise that you see there is separate from the 45 adapters. The 45 adapters, because we make them physically in-house by hand, are sold through our eBay store, and there's links all over where you can get those. And then we have a store tab down below for our separate merchandise line, so you can get all that cool stuff there. But mostly I just want to say thank you for being there. Thank you for all the support. We have tons of stuff stacked up that needs to be reviewed, and because of that, there's some great content coming your way soon. But that's going to do it for today, so happy record hunting, and we'll see you next time.